to the What's a Revolution show, a show for men and the people who love them, where we discuss how men can find and embrace the revolution within themselves, where people can find and embrace the revolution within themselves. I am your host, Dr. Charles Corprew. What's my favorite line? What's good, revolutionaries? I hope all is well in your world and you are doing your thing. Fourth quarter, fourth quarter. It's football season, folks. Got to go home and see. There he goes again. He gonna talk about his beloved New Orleans and his beloved Saints. Yes, yes. I got to go home and watch those Saints beat up on what they call themselves, the Seahawks. Seahawks actually don't exist, so I'm just putting that out there. There's no such thing as a Seahawk. But as my guest today is a Philly fan. I'm going to assume that he is a Philly fan. His Eagles are flying high at 5-0 with my frat brother Jalen Hurts. But yeah, I spent some time in my beloved New Orleans last week to get a little love and a little respite after the months that we've had and taking care of my patriarch. It's been a trying time, but you always know that you can go home, right? That's where your revolutions begin, right? Home. And sometimes for us to answer and then to go out and implement our revolutions, we have to go home. And I will always say this, the 15 years that I spent there, New Orleans is my home. It is my second home. And when I'm there, it is my home. And the chance to spend time with my folks, with my people, to be loved on, to give love. Shout out to my Kellogg family and all that they are and all that they do into the world. Shout out to the good men of Rho Phi, of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, who always have an outstretched arm for me to go home and say, you know what, bro, we got you. And that's what fraternity is. It is essential to our soul. Friendship is essential to the soul. As I think about this time, I think about, right, just even moving back into that conversation about the bros. I remember coming home in 2020, and I had been running triathlons, and part of that is cycling. And we started to get together to ride, right? That community of Black men riding together, riding bicycles, right? Riding cycles, right? Not the little BMX that you were riding when you were little boys or little girls, a bike. And I remember the camaraderie that it felt like when we were going 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 miles, riding 100 miles. And yes, sometimes it gets windy, the terrain gets treacherous, all the things. But when you know that you have a group of folks, that you have your pack with you, it is something about that ride where, one person can ride alone and it's heavy. But when you have 10 people riding in a peloton, right, the ride becomes a little bit easier. The wind is cut through a little bit heavier, right? And I want to just give a shout out to the 757 biking bros, right? Even though we don't get a chance to ride as much as we used to, that camaraderie and love and fellowship that happened when we got on those bikes is unsurpassed, right? And I'm hoping that we have a chance to get back on the bikes together. But there's an interesting thing, as I bring on my guest today, Curran Swint. Swint, it is Swint, right? Yeah, Curran.
Curran.
Curran, exactly. This brother has created an opportunity for not only men of Omega, but people, men and women, right? Non-binary folks from all across the country to come together to ride, right? To bring their passion of cycling together, to hold court and to hold community together. So revolutionaries, I want to make sure that you're going to KRT, is it KRT.com?
KRT Cycling.
KRTcycling.com. And excuse me, because I know all these things are sitting right here in front of me. But I'm just so excited, to think about that this brother has created a lifestyle brand around bringing folks together to cycle community. And so I want to introduce this brother to everybody, the founder, CEO, the curator of KRT, Kings Rule Together, Queens Rule Together Cycling. Brother, thank you for coming on the show. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you.
Shout out to my brother Tate Dozier and Kim, right, for making this introduction. They are the 757 folks who represent the chapter down here. So a big shout out to them. So, brother, thank you for taking the time out and coming on the show so my revolutionaries can hear your story. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you for inviting me, and shout out to Katie and Tay down there in Virginia, and the whole Virginia family down there too.
Yeah, we are doing their thing, you know, and there's a large following. There's a large following that you've built. I want to start there, right? Before I ask my signature question, uh, Karan, what does it take to build a following, right? As you think about what you've been able to create over the last 12 years, and we talked about that in the green room, you started this, right? You started this movement, Kings Rule Together in 2010. But I want you to think about what you have right now. What has it taken for you to build a movement of folks to come together around this belief that we can have community around cycling?
It takes a lot of faith. It takes a vision, and commitment. Those things are like, I have to believe in it myself to have other people believe and follow behind what I envision for myself and the people that I am around, or I am trying to be a leader of. So I think that's one of the more important things that I try to possess with my own qualities is, making sure that I'm doing a lot of things that allow other people to believe in what I envision. So it's like it starts with yourself, is and by me start with myself and putting a lot of work and have a lot of faith in, because I have a lot of times when I might not feel like, oh, this may not can work, or this might not work, but it's like I'm always betting on myself. I'm always betting on. I've been believing in myself for over 12 years. Like, I started KRT when I was 23, but you start your brand way before you even start your
Mhm.
brand. So when I was even younger than that, when I was getting dressed, when I was having mentors, or I was listening to my father, I was listening to my mom telling me not to wear a certain type of outfit because it's going to make me be labeled as a certain type of individual. People inventing certain things in my mind, and this being around certain type of people evolved into this whole concept and mindset of kings ruling together. So it's like, because when you think about those words, they technically don't go together, and in history,
Mhm.
kings typically don't rule together. So it's like, for someone to actually believe in that and have other believe in that as well, you have to have some type of confidence, some type of direction
Yes.
to have people believe in something that is not the social norm. you
Hmm.
know
Brother, you said a couple things that I just want to double click on. Is one, and I say this all the time on the show, but like you said, you build your brand before it ever starts, right? Before you ever put it out there. And one of the things that we say on the show is that to be revolutionary, you have to revolt and evolve into something that you've never seen or never been before. Can you imagine that, right? To think about that, right? And it sounds like that's what you had to do, right? I see this version of myself down the road, but to get there, I've got to revolt from this current state. And there were supporters around you, right? As you said, that your family were saying, brother, young brother, no, this is not how a king, right, rules, right? This is not how a king carries himself. I'm not saying that you didn't, but or let me rephrase that. They're saying to you, this is how a king carries himself. This is how a king rules. And that this current state right now, you've got to revolt and evolve into that version that you are 12 years later. So, revolutionaries, I want you to hear what he said, that you build your brand, whether it's a global brand, whether it's a national brand, whether it's a regional brand, whether it's your community brand, or whether it's you. Because at the end of the day, there are 8 billion brands out there, and you're one of them. And to think about how you curate that, right? Even now, who do you want to be 12 years from now? As the comedian Ciroc said, he knew what he wanted to be 5 years from now, so he started acting like that. And so revolting and evolving into that person is one of our core tenets here. And so that is the interesting thing. I love that. And the second piece that I want to pull out, right, is that when we think of kings, right, we think of singular things. There was just an ascension to the throne, King Charles, and I love that, right, right. I love that, King Charles, right. Unfortunately, my king passed on September 16th. The King Charles II passed on September 16th. But that name, my father ruled. He ruled singularly. He ruled his household. He was a wonderful, wonderful image of father and husband, and all of the things. But what happens when we rule together? what happens when kings, right? And I wonder sometimes, Quran, as I think about this, right? How do kings rule together? Because that's a very interesting thought. Because and I'll stop short at this because I think about when we think of kings and when I think of black men, oftentimes, and I could be wrong, there's a I got to rule on my own, right? And usually kings are, they have their own countries, right? And what they're usually trying to do is overtake someone else's country. They're trying to overthrow another king. They're trying to amass more land. They're trying to get more people to follow them. But you're changing that, like you're flipping that on its head. And so, how do kings rule together? How do queens rule together?
I mean, I think it's we simply by you're hanging around with like-minded individuals. So it's like I look at it as it's one of our taglines is strength in numbers. So it's like you get more things done with the power of positive people around you, like-minded individuals behind you, people that are on the same type of goal, same type of mindset, and I look at it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to build a lot of things. Most people, when you talk about things that are making an impact, we may look at the person at the top. You may look at the king, but you're not looking at the queen. You're not looking at everybody else that come around him, his friends, his buddies. It's like all these things help the king prosper. So, and I like to see other people win. It's not because it's so much space and opportunity for other people to succeed as well. So, if I have resources, or if I have mentors, if I have ways for you to, like, what took me 12 years to build, or what took me 2 years to build, or what took me however many years to build, by you following my footsteps, you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
You just pay attention to the people that came before you. That's why you have mentors. That's why you have those like that. So it's like, and I look at it in sports, LeBron James or Steph Curry, like they're individuals, but they're better with their team.
They're better with their teams.
They're better with their team. So it's like I'm a strong person by myself, but with the likes of people like Tay and KD down there in VA, Marlene, Eric, and Raquel up in New York, and people in LA, like minds coming together, I'm even stronger because I have people that's around that have the same vision, that has the same direction, that we're all on the same, we're a team. So what I can do by myself, I can make far greater noise because I have so many other people that's around me that's like-minded. So the difference between before and now was I had a lot of people that was a part of KRT, but I didn't have a community like I do now.
Yes.
So now, because I have a community and people are more invested into the community because we're building as a community, it pushes the agenda of kings ruling together even greater.
Yes.
I was always pushing this agenda for a while, but once I put actual individuals together and now we do things together, and I used to have basketball tournaments where I would have my own clothing brand, but I would put other clothing brands all in one basketball court so everybody wear their own jerseys, come out and sell the t-shirts, promote themselves and all that type of stuff. But it's like I'm a clothing brand, but I'm promoting other clothing brands because you can do that. It's like there's so many opportunities for people to make money, to do other things, to have more opportunities. But we're so used to that crab in a barrel mentality where, you think that you got to pull everybody down to get to the top. No, it's like that's not how other races work. Like they support each other, they support their people. Like, if I have, and also we're a black-owned business, so I try to do a lot of things that's involving with other black-owned businesses. It's like, why pour my money and my resources into other people when I see my people over there struggling? I want you to get to the,
yes.
Like we got to get on each other backs. You get what I'm saying? It's like, and that's also for the culture that I grew up on. I always grew up around entrepreneurs. My dad was in the fashion industry for over 25 years, so I kind of already been in that culture of just seeing people working together with other people, getting things done, figuring things out. Most people in our culture too, we come from the bottom. We robbing Peter to pay Paul. We're still trying to figure it out. We don't necessarily have the business mindset or the business strategy, but so we're just have, a lot of us have the hustle mentality because we always was playing it from the back. We always had to figure out a way to succeed. We always had the odds against us. So I feel like now we have a great opportunity because there's a lot more knowledge and information, and
Yes.
people are sharing the wealth now.
Yes.
So it's like for you to be successful now, it's a lot easier now because the information is there, but also it's a lot more distractions too. So the youth are. I'm going on this how
No,
I
no,
answer.
you're good. You're good. No, 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 brother. That's the thing, right? When we think about it, because as you're talking, I'm listening. I'm thinking about some of the stories that I've told myself about working with others, and especially working with other Black men. And you know, there's a trust factor that has to be there, right? And building trust, because I keep thinking, how many times have people been taken advantage of, and you can't hold that against folks, right? You can't hold some of the negative experiences that you've had with your people, and disallow that to move forward in building community, right, and working together. And I see that when we build community, when we get out of our way, when we alleviate the stories that we've told ourselves about working together, that we don't have to, right, pull each other down, that we can lift as we climb, as the good men of Omega say, right?
Yes.
That then we work even harder together, and right, we build together. Kings can rule together. That's what happens. Kings can rule together. Queens can rule together. And what happens when we do this is that our communities are even better, right? You think about the
Yes.
nefarious that are happening in our streets in Philly and New Orleans and DC and Chicago and LA, right? Kings are not ruling together. Everybody's trying to be a king,
Yep.
right? And that those are deleterious, that have deleterious impact on our communities. But when kings rule together, right, they have the ability to uplift the community. So I love that. Curran Swint, man, founder of QRT Cycling, brother. What's your revolution?
Whew. My revolution, man. I'm so my revolution for the future.
It could be for you, the future, for KRT. What is it that you want to change in this world? Why are you doing what you're doing?
I mean, what I do what naturally comes to me. I'm a outgoing, friendly, welcoming person, and I want to spread that love and positivity through what I already love to do.
Mm,
So everything that I'm already doing is it's my passion. It's stuff that I like to do. I like art. I like fashion. I like cycling. I like traveling. You know, I like family. I like community. So I feel like my revolution is a part of my journey from just doing what I love to do and showing others that you can do these type of things, have a good time. You can be positive. Promoting a positive Black image, a healthy image, promoting the positivity through fashion, through cycling, through art. I feel like through business. Us prospering. Because the thing is, what I noticed when we started off cycling, it wasn't really uh, no Black leaders in the cycling. We always are the athletes, but we're never the owners. So, you know, my revolution was okay. I'm already doing fashion anyway, so let me incorporate my own fashion within the cycling industry.
right.
So now I want to be the next big, and I always had plans to be the next big something or the next big this, but through cycling it was and I I was already successful with clothes in general and just how I was moving with Kingswood together prior, but just the cycling industry, it's a niche community, and it's a growing. It's like the new golf,
Mm,
especially
yes,
for
I like that.
for us. A lot of people wasn't really familiar about it uh, because I feel like it wasn't really promoted and highlighted to the next generation. But now, because like uh, KRTs of the world and the other clubs out there in the world, like the Bros, like y'all coming from somewhere else and then coming together with cycling. Like now, like I went to New Orleans 3 weeks ago. My first time ever there. Met up with somebody that is a bruh. And when I went
Right.
to Houston, I met up with another guy that's a bruh as well. Uh, but it's connecting with so many different people that allows me to really push the agenda of kings ruling together.
Yes.
And the whole concept really came from me changing my mindset. I used to in the culture, you know, we use the N word all the time, calling each
Yeah.
other niggas and bees all the time. My friends start calling me a king, and I'm like, why are you calling me a king? I don't have king like pockets. I'm not ruling on the throne. I'm just a regular guy from Philly. I wasn't a regular guy from Philly, but I'm just a guy from Philly. He says, not about your what's your pockets or the money you have. Is about your mindset. You know,
Yeah.
thinking like a king. When you think about a king, what comes to your mind? You know, uh, someone of greatness, a man, power, leader, provider. You know,
Yes.
somebody that's making moves, getting things done. When you think about a nigga, what do you think about? You know, hard times, black
Mhm.
struggle, ignorance. You know, so it's like those words really changed my mindset and put me in a
Power.
better position and put me in power of my own self, you know. So my revolution is really just changing, and it has done. I've seen I turned a positive clothing brand into a movement because people wasn't really using the word king and queen 12 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
walking around calling people king and queen. Now I see crowns on everybody's stuff. I
Oh
see,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and this is I found out about this is I didn't know about Basquiat before uh, I started my brand. I found about them afterwards. They're like, "Yo, you got that crown from Basquiat?" I said, "No, I didn't know about it." So now it's like great minds thinking alike. Now me seeing other artists or other people that's doing certain things, like it's all tying together. So just pushing something that I always tell people. Like, I started this brand from scratch. I didn't think about, like, I remember writing down a list of names that I wanted to call it. Somebody said, don't. I want to name it Kings Rule Together. That's too long. Or Kings Don't Rule Together. You know, I heard everything. But I'm like, no, this is something that I like. Even though it's long, I actually tried to get KRT.com, but it cost like all this money because I couldn't get this. So I had to get KingsWithTogether.com. So, but yeah.
No, it's good, brother. I love it. And don't worry about telling the story, right? Don't worry about telling that story, and thinking about that. We all have this revolution of moving into this space of change, right? And like you said, your revolution is to bring positivity, right? To bring something that you have that was inside of you out to the world. You think about that, revolutionaries, right? It could be just right. Think about the simplicity of that. And I'm not trying to downgrade what Brother Karan has just said, but the simplicity of it is that I had something inside of me that I wanted to bring into the world, right? And if you ask yourself that, revolutionaries, what is it inside of you that you want to bring to the world? It will fuel your revolution. Look at this, right? KRT QRT is now a nationally recognized brand. If you Google Karan's Swint, you will see this brother has been on all of the covers of cycling. Right, right. He's a kid. You know how y'all say I'm a kid from Philly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a kid from Philly that it is now on national cycling magazines, right? With the KRT brand, right? With the KRT brand, and I want you to talk about this, right? Because you're a fashion, right? You're a fashion, well, we call fashionista, but you're into fashion, right? You created this lifestyle brand, right? And KRT was this lifestyle brand. How have you married fashion, right? Because this is where I push folks to go to kingsruletogether.com, right? Because I want you to see what you have created from a fashion sense, right? Because when I say kit, right, most of the kids, they're not out there like looking like what's going on, what folks are wearing. So how have you married fashion and cycling, right, around the brand Kings and Queens Rule Together?
Well, simply because, like, especially in our culture, you know, regardless of how much money you got in your pockets or what's going on in life, you like to look good. You know, we like to look good. So it's like, and I realized that, you know, if I'm going to be riding my bike 3 to 4 times a week, or I'm gonna be around a bunch of my friends who want to ride their bike, or a community of people that want to ride their bike, we all want to look good, you know. So I think me adopting my own sense of style, my own sense of direction of where the cycling industry is going, me seeing where the cycling industry is now, what are people, and like I said, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So you see brands out there like Ralpha, or brands like, when I first started off, I used to like to wear like stuff like Castelli, things like
Mm-hmm.
that, and I used to see like what type of stuff, how are they lasting the test of times. Or you go back to other brands outside of cycling like Polo. Polo may not be as big as it was before, but Polo is still relevant. Polo people
Very.
are still real is still has made the test of times because it still has classic pieces. It still has certain type of things. So it's like, so that's pretty much what I wanted to embody within the KRT QRT, and also because we have men and women, and because we have it's not just KRT, it's like KRT and QRT or QRT, or sometimes I was in the front cover of magazines, but if people be right in front of me and next to the woman that was in the magazine, and they'll say, hey, to the woman, I seen you in the magazine.
Right.
So they'll skip behind me and be like, I seen you in the magazine, So
I see you, Queen. I see you, Queen.
So it's like, but now we have people that are addressing us as kings, as queens, as QRT, as KRT. It's the branding, it's the messaging, it's and really we're just changing the narrative of how we typically look, because a lot of it used to be more baggier, or people like we are looking like the models that they see on the we're looking like, and also we look like the models, and the models come in all shapes and sizes because we're all shapes.
I like that. Yeah.
Our women are not all sticks. Our women are all shapes and sizes. Our men are all shapes and sizes. So we go up to a 5X, we go up to a 4X in women's. We have actually we have go up to a 5X as well on certain things, and our women are curvier. So we cater to our people because that's who we are. Mm-hmm. So just by embodying those type of things within our own culture, and staying true to who I am and who we are, and that really pushes the envelope with us, with the cycling industry in general.
No, I love it. I love what you're saying because, thinking about it, and I want folks to go. Make sure you go to the website and check it out because, like, when KRT QRT is riding together, folks know who we are. You know what I'm saying? And it is really built around your thought, your creative thought about what it means to look good riding a bike. I mean, it's as simple and complex as that, right? What does it mean to look good, to look stylish, to ride a bike? I want to say one day I was out, right? Don't get me wrong, I love wearing my purple and gold, right? We got some nice stylish kits, but the graffiti, right, top is amazing, right? And I remember, I can't remember the brother's name, man. God, I can't remember the brother's name, but he had on basically the graffiti top and the black bib, right? And I said to myself, like, yo, that's hot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just the way, and like you said, around building a brand, a lifestyle brand, around something that, look, don't get me wrong, Black men love to look good, right? No matter what we're doing, right? We want to look stylish and fit and fantastic, right? When I saw that kit, I was like, yo, that's fresh. Like, I want that joint, right? Because it looked good. And we were about to do 100 miles, right? At least 60. And I was like, you out here, you know what I'm saying? Making it look fresh, making it look easy. And that's the interesting thing, to hear the story around this is a lifestyle brand that began as a fashion brand and all of a sudden morphed into an opportunity for folks to be healthy, to come to coalesce together, to build community together, and simply look amazing together, right? And to think about that. I want to build a little bit more with you because there are a lot of my revolutionaries who are thinking about, even myself, right? What are the challenges in building a brand? Because it's not like you can just throw something out, right? Throw something on the whiteboard and it sticks. And like I said earlier, you're on the cover of national magazines, right? Splashed, right, with KRT. And I keep seeing all these different colors and all these different color blocks and all these different things, right? And people are buying, right? I'm saying, wait, look, how are you like affording all these different kits? You know what I'm saying? What's it like to build a brand like this from scratch? Talk about the challenges. Talk about the successes, right? What is it like for you to be the leader of now a national brand?
It's definitely challenges. It's very rewarding as well because like I said, I'm a people person, so I enjoy when I meet up with my friends to ride my bike, when we travel to different places to ride our bike, when you with somebody 2 to 3 days out the week, that's not just your person you ride your bike with. That's your brother. That's your sister. That's your family. Uh, but some of the challenges has been, just trying to stay consistent, trying to, because people are expecting so much, because we done set the bar so high. So it's like, when you got the one graffiti jersey, okay, what you going to do with the next jersey, or what you going to do with this or the next colorway? What are you going to do with the next trip? We had 115 people go down to Atlanta for One Love. So it's like the year before that we had 27, so it's like, just keep on exploring those options of, us being successful, having successful events, making sure the membership experience is good for everybody that's coming on board, learning from trial and error, having the money and the funds to maintain these things, because like I said, we're not going to another company. We do our own manufacturing. So it's like, now we have to spend our own money to pour into the brand. So it's like, so that's another thing that's challenging. And, just also being a family man. I have a daughter, I have a partner, like we are together. So it's like me having to be home, away from home a lot, or traveling every weekend and things like that. And that's some other more personal challenges, and just maintaining good relationships with everybody. Sometimes, as good as your intentions can be, sometimes you may have a bad relationship with somebody, or you may have uh, a misunderstanding. It's like, just trying to be level headed, because we all are still trying to figure this thing out. We all are still learning as we grow. I always say, building a plane as I'm flying it, because we're already up in the air. We're already going up to the top. It's like, but I got to make sure I hold this thing together, because we're going up. We have been successful, and it's not just also about myself being successful. I want to put other people on for success as well. I've been successful for a long time now. I've been on magazines and been on all types of things. It's like I want to see my homie get on something. I want to see my friend get a bike. I want to see other opportunities happen from you being a part of this club. I want to be a bigger benefit. Another challenges is people ego sometimes. People also seeing how KRT and QRT are coming through. It could be some jealousy. It can be some hatred. It can be some not really understanding. My mission is really to promote a healthy lifestyle within the Black community, something different. Some people may see, oh, it's a takeover. So just being more strategic about how we are moving, how I am moving. Making sure people are having a healthy and happy experience. In both members and non-members. Because we are always so quick to judge. You see somebody doing something, now they're doing something like, okay, they Hollywood, or they this or they that. It's like, no, it's like a lot of people. Every time we go somewhere new, we always bring back more members from that place we go to. Right. A lot of people don't really realize, like, oh, these people, they're really cool online, but when I see them in person, they're even more cool.
They're even doper.
They're even doper in person. So it's like, yo, like we had when we was in the Airbnb, we had a taco night. We invited people that was non-members to come through. Then we had breakfast the next morning. And it's like, it's people that came through multiple times that wasn't a part of the club. Just like, yo, it's love. And it's like, we just want to have a good time. We want positive vibes around us. We want people to be successful. We're concerned about the well-being of when you're out there riding, even when you're not out there riding. Like, how's your family? How's your kids doing? How's your business doing? We want to push the successful agenda of just knowledge and wealth in general. So
yeah. No, I totally agree. As you think about building a brand, one of the things that you said, I want my revolutionaries to understand, it's about consistency, right? And it's about creating a furor around your brand, right? So thinking about that, kings rule together. So king and queens rule together. And so the fear that you make around a brand is that, why are folks coming together to support what you're trying to do? And so the thing, the customers, as we talk through this for a second, are thinking about, one, I want community. I want community with folks that look like me, and I want to get healthier. And at the end of the day, what you say, I want to look good while I'm doing all this, right?
Yes.
And so that's the thing. So the consistency of saying that we're going to create events, we're going to create style, right, that our customers want. At the end of the day, like I said, you know what I'm saying? We're also going to promote, right, this air, like everywhere we go. We want, right, ultimately, your brand is built upon the experiences that people have with it.
Yes.
I want all my revolutionary, all my entrepreneurs to understand is that your brand is built on people's positive experiences that they're having with it. People listen to this show because for years they've listened to it because hopefully they get something positive. It makes their life better. What's your revolution is something that people can ask themselves, that they can interact with themselves, they can interact with other folks. Like Karan just said, my revolution is to bring folks together, to build something that I can take out to the world that people can have a more positive impact, right? What are you doing with KRT? Every time we get together, there's a positive experience, right? I want to be with other kings. I want to be with other queens, right? And I want to look good. It's just that simple.
It really is that simple. And the thing is, too, when you look at it from another perspective, too, is like as you get older, it's hard for you to make friends. So
Yes,
it's like, so now we're creating something off of one thing that you have a common interest in. If you like cycling in any capacity, you can be a racer to a bike cruiser or whatever the case may be. You join a club that's in the middle. Now you can go on ski trips. You can go on. We have yoga nights, game nights. You can go. You can travel to Atlanta. Some people never been to LA. When we went to LA last year, and we going to in the top of the year, and then we're going to LA this next year too as well, or Miami, Jamaica. You go on all these places that we've traveled to, and we're not just riding our bikes. That's just one thing that's bringing us together. But now you have other type of relationships, other type of bonds and experiences from just you joining a cycling club at the age of 44 or the age of 20, 25, or it's like we're not just going out drinking, having a good time.
no.
We're adding more years to our life, hopefully by
Story.
us doing something healthy, us doing something that's providing other type of outlets where you might not get that in other type of aspects of your life. And
No.
that's where it's like I appreciate things like sororities and fraternity, because that was never my thing, because I didn't go to a college, but I see that experience like now. I'm getting that experience now because I'm like, I have a community of people that I talk to on a day-to-day basis, and I appreciate that, because I might not get that because when you go to a club or something like that, you're not
Different,
really
bro.
talking to somebody. Music is loud. You got to go to a networking event. It takes time for you to figure out if that person is interested in what you're doing. But now, if you do like a girl, you know that she rides a bike. All right, that's one thing. That's one thing I got in common right there. So,
Man, let me tell you, bro. Look, look, exactly. So you think about a value system, right? What do folks value, right? And people come around together around common values, right? We're seeing it in our country, right? And oftentimes in our country, sometimes because we may have different values, we sit in our camps. But people do come around each other because we value the same thing, right? And again, it's just simple that we want to ride, we want to be healthy, we want community, and we want to look good, right? And
yeah,
look, and sometimes we just want to be around folks that just look like us to be safe, right? And there is nothing, Karan, there is nothing like riding 20 miles, 30 miles, 40 miles, 50 miles, a metric century, 100 miles. And at the end of the ride, let me tell you something. You know what I love to do at the end of a ride? Is to
all
pull
that.
out my red chair. Look, the bros will tell you, right? I pull out my red chair and I sit in my red chair and I hold court because I want to spend time with my folks,
Yeah,
right? And I'm disappointed, Ron, that at the end, if I don't have my red chair, right? Yeah, bros, it's a red chair.
I got a red chair too, bro.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like if I don't have my red chair, I'm disappointed because that means that I can't sit around with my folks and I can't laugh, right? I can't laugh. I got to stand up, and after a long ride, you want to sit down. I want to have a cold one. I want to relax with my people and hold court, and that's community,
Yeah,
right? And the safety, right? That's my word of 2022. To feel safe with my people is one of the greatest joys of my life, right? To think about that and to look good. You
right.
know, and to look good. But that
Look
is
good, feel good.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's what I love about this. The ability to build a brand for us that allows us to coalesce together, to laugh, to love, like you said, to do a variety of things, that allow us to be healthier people. And that's the thing, right? Ultimately, we want to live longer lives. We want to look good, as they say, I want to look good naked longer.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to do all the things I'm supposed to do longer. Cycling will help you do that. So let me ask you this question, brother. As you think about this, brands grow, right? Good, successful brands grow. What's next for KRT, QRT, right? How do you see it growing even bigger? How do you see it touching more folks, right? How do you see this revolution being even bigger than it is right now?
Well, one, we right now we have over like 350 members. So I think we're going to try to have a stationary location, and first off in Philadelphia. So I like to have like a clubhouse, storefront slash office space meetup, something like that for when people come out in town, or that could be a reason for people to come to town. Like when they do come to Philly to go to the Rocky Steps, to go to get a cheesesteak. Yo, let me go past the KRT headquarters.
Right.
Something like that would be ideal. Also, building on to the other hubs that we have, which is right now we have Philly, Virginia, LA, New York, and DC, or I think we got one more. But those are like North Carolina. I'm sorry, North
Right.
Carolina. So those are our main 5 hubs right now. So really building on the chapters, which is our hubs, building on those chapters, and also as we have other places that are establishing more members and more people in other places, we want to establish more relationships in other places as well and build on that. I feel like just keep on that experience, people having a good time when they're with us, when having a good community around them. So like they get a lot. Like I want them to get more from us than just paying their membership fees. Like I feel like when they come around, I want people to feel like, you know what, this is a great investment.
Yes.
I have a good community of friends. I have a safe space to talk about stuff. I have a great place to go ride my bike, and I also can have a few destination places I can go to travel. Or if I'm in New York and I'm traveling to Virginia, I can go holler at the people in Virginia for a second to go ride my bike. So it's like I want to have a database of people all over the world where, hey, you in LA for a second? Oh, let me hit up such and such because they're in LA and I can ride my bike. Yeah. Or I can connect, even if you're not riding your bike, you can connect with them, go out and get something to eat. I see so many people reposting their stories of people that they're connected with from being a part of the club. So building on the club, I feel like we're gonna have it's gonna be a lot. I already can see it now. It's gonna be a lot of members. It's gonna be a lot of stuff going on because there's already a lot going on now. So I feel like we're just gonna be connected with more people, introducing the youth more to cycling. Because we're so constantly used to playing basketball, football. I feel like we already been used to riding our bikes in general. So it's like if we can have a young kid starting off at an early age with cycling, then he's going to be the next LeBron James of cycling, or the next Justin Williams, or Bahati, or Major Taylor. So it's like we have so many different opportunities that we haven't even really like touched on. Really, we're still very successful what we're doing. So once we really start, once I start delegating other type of tasks to other individuals to help us grow this thing even more, the sky's the limit.
Right. I keep thinking as I sit here and Google, right, the brothers who are Justin and Corey Williams, right, with Legion, right, who have changed up the game, right, for cycling, right, but you hadn't really heard of them. For folks in the cycling community, they know who they are, right? They've been national champions, and I think about Sharon Smith, who's been on the show.
Oh yeah,
yeah, my dude.
That's the first show I listened to.
Yeah, my dude. And he was so good just to talk about this, right? He won't tell anybody his age. Sharon, you need to go ahead and tell everybody, like 80 years old, just killing the game. But Sharon, he came on the show to talk about, like, what does it mean to be a black man in cycling? He won the national championship. Yeah. And right, and crushed it. And so what does that mean for us to see us doing things, as my friends say, doing what has been usually perpetually for white folks, that we're coming in and doing something for our own health that looks something different, right? We don't have to play basketball, we don't have to play football. I started playing pickleball, bro, right? You know what I'm saying? I love pickleball. Like I took my pickleball racket to New Orleans, right? And look, my friends were like, "You're doing some white people stuff." I'm just doing some human stuff,
Yeah,
right?
right. You get
Why do
exposed to different stuff. When you get
right?
exposed to different stuff, like I never thought I'll be really riding my bike 3 times a week. Like, but I got exposed to it. So like,
Yeah.
and that's all it is. You
Mhm.
become a product of your environment because that's all you see and that's all you see. You hear. It's like, oh, we going to the basketball court because there's no tennis courts around. Actually, it is tennis courts around, but your friends don't play tennis.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you get around other type of people, it exposes you to all types of stuff. And that you, without that, you're limiting yourself and your ideas of what you can do in your life.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
and that I love that you said that, right? That we have to stop limiting ourselves, revolt and evolve, right? And then think about that, revolt and evolve, and find your midwives, right? As my man Sean Dove says all the time, find your midwives, right? Your midwives will expose you to new things. Your midwives will get you out of your world so that you can bring your dreams to the world. Think about that, right? Let me ask you that question, right? Who are the people that have helped you bring KRT to the world? Because I know, as you said, it wasn't just you. Who are the folks, right? Name those people that help you bring this dream to the world.
where I start? I mean, I can start by initially my friend Corey Latif Williams. He's a singer songwriter. He's the first person that ever called me king,
Wow.
uh, and that was in 2010, I think it was, or 2009. And so that's still my friend to this day. You know, that's my king. That's my homie. That's
Right.
my brother. Uh, and there's another friend of mine. He was an older guy. Well, he still is an older guy. His name is Taji, and he was the like. So I used to actually go to school with his daughters, and his daughters kept on saying like, "Yo, you need to talk to my father. He has the same type of style as you. You would like him. He dope." I'm like, man, I'm not talking to this old guy. What are you talking about? And then one time he came into my father's store. My father had a clothing store at the time, and I'm like, "Yo, this old head pretty cool." So when I started connecting with them two, I realized like I was a stylish and smart and cool individual by myself, but with other people that was skilled in their own regards, when we came together, we was even powerful. It was a
Yeah.
unity. So that's when I was like, all right, we all call each other kings. Yo, kings ruling together. So
Yes.
those initial two guys was the ones that kind of sparked my whole mindset and character of that idea of kings ruling together. But other people that helped me was like I had a lot of people that well right now my partner Hank, he does a lot of work with the brand and the ins and out of the club that we're doing right now. Kim Ross, they call her Kim the boss,
Right.
Sana, Mira, they all people that are right now helping me and doing a lot of things with and then also like Tay and KD. Like
Yeah.
I remember Tay was like in what 2020 December, like, hey, y'all interested in doing a KRT like a Major Taylor version of KRT in Virginia? And I'm like, nah, bro, I'm not really interested in that type of thing, But if I ever do, I hit you up. He's like, all right, cool. January, I hit him up. I was like, hey, bro, you still interested in doing that? So if it wasn't for Tay, we might not really have chapters. I wasn't thinking about
Wow.
chapters. I wasn't
Right.
thinking about
Wow.
evolving this even bigger. So
Yes.
so when Tay and KD came around, and then they next thing they got 10 members after that.
Yeah.
Now they
Hmm.
got 50 plus members. It's like, now we already have a format because they have somewhere already. They already have a foundation in Virginia. So now we can do that same thing that we already did in Virginia and go to North Carolina, go to New York, go to LA, go to Chicago, go to Ohio.
Have to have
So
midwives to bring your dreams out to the world.
so
And
it's a lot of people that push the agenda for me without me actually. So it's like I'm not saying I was closed minded. It's just that I didn't necessarily see it. So and then also you got to be able to pay attention to the signs and don't be scared to change. It's like don't be scared to adapt to certain things. It's like
right.
and that's you got to change with the times too. Sometimes people don't be want to change into the times of where you at because you're so conditioned or you're so used to things being a certain type of way. You're stuck in your way at an old age, at an early age, or whatever. It's like, yo, you got to evolve. So it's like,
Yeah.
how can I evolve and make this thing grow bigger? And that was one of the reasons that it was able to grow bigger. And now it's open the floodgates.
No, I love that. I will continually say that, partnership, right? Having somebody who believes in your dreams just as much as you do, which is not an easy thing, but having folks believe in what you do and they will say, I'm down with you. I'm down for this, right? I believe in what you're building. I believe in this revolution. You are revolutionary, and I am the revolutionary behind you, in front of you, beside of you. I will protect you. I will lead you. I will fund you. All of the things, right, that allow us to bring our dreams to the world, allow us to bring our revolutions to the world. And that is why we do what we do, right? So, one, revolutionaries, I want you to think about this, right? Who can you support, right? I want you to think clearly about this, right? Who can you give your time to help them midwife, right? You can be the midwife for them, right? I want to give a shout out to my boy, Dr. Travis Bass. I know you're listening. This brother is a super fan of the What's Your Revolution show. He's actually been on the show himself, all right? But he texts me periodically. He say, you know what? You're my midwife, right? You help me think about how I can expand my world, how I can bring my revolution to the world. I want you to figure out, revolutionaries, who you can support, right? Because there are brands out here like KRT and QRT that need your support, right? So I want you to go to KRTcycling.com, right? And if you're cycling, if you're part of the community, right, go and become a member, right? Go and become a member. Go and look fly while you're riding, right? Literally, that black graffiti jersey is like on point, right? With what little black bib and some black socks, right? You know what I'm saying? You're killing the game. I promise you.
It's sold out, but
It's always sold out. That's the thing about it is folks want it. It is always sold out. I still don't even have one yet. It is always sold out. But I want you to go to krtcycling.com and check out what this brother has built, right? He's built from scratch, built a lifestyle brand and has brought it to the people, right? Be who you are and allow it to come to fruition where you can impact folks' lives, revolutionaries, right? And I say this all the time, right? For you to answer this question, you got to revolt and evolve. You got to see who you want to be 10 years from now and start revolt from the person you are right now and move into that space, right? And I'm so glad that Elijah Moses seeded that into us, right? When he said, my revolution is to revolt and to evolve into the person that I want to be. Dear brother Curran, right, has evolved into this brand, into the CEO of this blustering brand that is going to bring folks not only in the cycling community, right? Because you think, right, kings want to come together in a variety of things. Queens want to come together in a variety of things, right? And so you've just started that revolution. It might just be cycling right now, but think about where this brand can grow and how it grows. So I want to make sure that folks, right, think about this. Think about this as you're building your revolution, as you're building your health revolution. Get on a bike, even if it's on your Peloton, right? Put on some KRT cycling, right? So you look good doing
right.
something, right? But make it work. Go and support this brother and what he's trying to do and all the folks that are behind him. Karan, I thank you for your time, brother. Is there anything how can folks find you other than on krtcycling.com if they want to get in touch with you?
They can check us out on Instagram at KRT Cycling or also at QRT Cycling. Or my personal Instagram is Curran_J.
Gotcha. This is a dope brother who's doing wonderful, wonderful things in the world. I'm just grateful for the time to have with you. Again, shout out to Tay and KD who are, leading the movement, leading the revolution here in Virginia, bringing folks together. I want to give a big shout out, huge shout out to the monster Arthur Graham, our who is a monster and he's telling his story, man. I say it all the time. That brother started riding bikes with us wearing tennis shoes, right? Wearing tennis shoes, no clips, no nothing, wearing tennis shoes. I saw Art post on his Instagram in California. His average speed, right? He rode 40, 50 miles. Average speed was 26 miles. Average speed was 26 miles an hour.
Woo!
That's ridiculous, bro. Shout out to you, my dear brother, man. We miss you here on the East Coast, but we know that you are doing big things in the world, right? Shout out to you. Shout out to my man, my dude, the commander, Corey Doolittle, the Colonel, right? The Colonel Jahari Hemphill, right? For all that you do for this show, all that you do for me, all that you do for bringing us together. I love you all, brothers. Thank you. Karan, thank you again for everything. Folks, go to krtcycling.com, figure out what's going on and how you can support, and know that I love you, and that we want you to be able to answer the most thought-provoking question of your life. What's your revolution? We'll talk to you soon, everybody. Peace.